Crufts. 6 dogs have won their breed classes and groups to compete for the title of Supreme Champion Best in Show. The lady judge awards the highest honour in the dog world. The winner is Hank, a Lhasa Apso handled by Geoff Corish of Orton near Ormskirk. He's the only professional all-breed dog handler in the country. Geoff doesn't own Hank. He grooms and presents him and many other dogs at all the major shows. The Lhasa Apso breed comes from Tibet. Hank is champion at Crufts today. Back at his home in Orton, Geoff has Hank's mate, Fresno, and his puppy dog, James.
Here we have 3 fine examples of Lhasa Apso. This chap in the middle here is champion Saxon Springs Hackensack, probably better known as Hank, this year's Crufts Supreme Champion, and father, of course, of James here. The lady on the end there is his mum, another famous lady, champion Saxon Springs Fresno. Both these two have produced this very fine-looking dog. Hank here, as everybody knows, has done an awful lot of winning. He won well last year, culminating in this year's Crufts Supreme Champion. Fresno there, his mum. She was top dog in 1982 and the winner of the Contest of Champions. So we're hoping that James will follow in the footsteps of his illustrious parents. Hank here is owned by Mrs. Jean Blythe, who will probably tell you a little bit more about him.
Well, he is a Supreme Champion. He hasn't suddenly become that. He has been winning steadily from the time he was a puppy. He was retired for about a year to let half-brothers and his half-sister Fresno come to the fore, and then he came out again this year and really has won consistently right through the year, so that our Crufts Supreme Championship was marvellous, but it wasn't just one-off. It was something to which he had been working hard, and which of course we're very proud he finally reached. He has sired a lot of very good puppies, many of them in the ring already. We're particularly proud of this litter. Offspring from this litter are literally all over the world. There are 2 in Australia, there's 1 in Denmark, there's 1 in Norway, there's 1 in the States. And we hope he's going to go on siring very good puppies for years to come. He won't be in the breed ring anymore. He has won the top, and I can't see any sense in going on for the sake of winning, so that he now has a life of going to special occasions, like Contests of Champions and stakes classes, and of course he is at stud, so he has a very merry life at home with the girls coming to see him. One should explain that this little bitch, who to my mind is an outstanding bitch, showed well for me 2 years ago, but gave up after the breed. And when I got her into the group ring, she just went to pieces, particularly when men handled her. I felt I wasn't getting from her what she deserved to be. I knew she was good enough to go to the top. And so after much heart searchings and talking to Geoff at, I think, half a dozen shows, I finally said, well, will you please take her over and handle her? He brought her home with him here and completely changed her, brought her out, loved her, and she blossomed. So that by the time the beginning of the real show year started in '82, she was really ready to go. And she won consistently with, is it 5 best in shows and several reserve best in shows, and was top bitch, top dog, all breeds for 1982, which was absolutely outstanding. So that he did a tremendous job on her, giving her individual attention, bringing her out, loving her, and particularly getting her confidence, which of course is what a professional must do and a good professional can do. And then she was mated and came out of the ring after she won the Contest of Champions last year. In fact, she was pregnant when she won it. And then it was the turn for this boy. Now, I have always shown him, and I love showing him. He's very much my dog. I'm very proud of him. He's very masculine, strong, of the same type as the bitch, but just a little bit extra maleness about him, which I find very attractive, particularly shows off in the ring. I showed him for a while, and then I find it difficult because I'm by myself at shows to show a top dog and to show puppies and young stock as well. And it meant if I had to show him, then I couldn't show the others as well. I couldn't physically do it and drive 100 miles there and back. So again with a lot of heart searching. And also because Geoff looks so disconsolate at the Apso ring without having an Apso, and looked so miserable when I was showing him, and I'm sure felt he could do better than I could. So that in the end he took him over and showed him, not all the year, but quite a lot of the year, and of course showed him at Crufts. Now again, he has that ability for bringing out the best in a dog. It wasn't so much temperament perhaps this time, but he brings out the showmanship in hand, presents him looking absolutely immaculate with every hair in place, and just brings him to the very top. I intended to show Hank up until an hour before he went in the ring, didn't I? He didn't know when he went to he didn't know when he went to Crufts that he was going to show Hank. I had said that I was going to. But then I partly fear on my part, and also because I know he does a better job than I do. I know he can really put the finishing touch. So that I said to him just before we went into the ring, do you want to take him? And of course he said, well, yes, I will. And then the rest of Crufts was agony, because it's when you're doing something, it doesn't hurt nearly as much as when you're standing and watching. And I couldn't watch. I flitted around, I went behind benches, I hid behind the benching. It's actually while the judging was going on. I couldn't bear to watch while it was going on. And then, of course, when he won the group, well, that was really exciting. And I watched some of it, and some of it I just hid my hand in my hands and couldn't bear until I knew that he had actually won. And then it was a mixture of elation and pleasure and joy and everything else.
This show, Manchester, will be his last show in the puppy class. We're hoping that he will then go on and do as well as Hank here and Fresno. And if he does half as well, he won't have done too badly at all. I've got high hopes for him this year, and probably even more for next year when he'll be that much older. He'll have more coat, more experience. I think we're really seeing a good prospect here.
Well, I must just interrupt and tell him that, of course, I have got the little sister at home. So he's going to have to fight for it. And I am showing her.
Geoff lives with his wife Angela, who keeps and breeds poodles. His home is festooned with congratulations on his recent win and crammed with evidence of his successes over the years.
I didn't really set out to become a professional handler. It just happened by accident, really. We didn't have dogs at home, and as soon as I left school, I decided Westie was the dog for me, which is the breed I've had the longest, incidentally. And I went to a show with the dog and did reasonably well at that stage. Of course, I was inexperienced, didn't know how to trim the dog, didn't know how to handle the dog, and we did quite well. And it progressed from there to acquiring a bitch, and I was very, very lucky. And in her first litter, I bred a champion, and I showed her quite a while, and then people started to ask me if I would handle their dogs for them. At this time I was still working, of course, so it wasn't a case of leaving one job to start as handling, because there just wasn't the amount of dogs around then. So I carried on working and handling part-time, and it really snowballed from there. And I've had Westies now for about nearly 20 years. And in that time, 2 Crufts Supreme Champions, a Dog of the Year. It's been really hard work, but an awful lot of satisfaction in it. It's especially nice if you have a nice client and you do well with the dog. You know, they're very pleased, and it pleases me to see them pleased. But there are cases where you have dogs which you know are good, and you can't really get the best out of them because the dog is the way it is. It's aggressive, if you like, or stubborn, and you just can't get the dog to do what you want. And I have had dogs who I've thought are really good dogs, and in the end I've just had to say, well, I'm sorry, but he or she and I just don't hit it off, and you know, we just part. You know, I send the dog back. Doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Of course, now at this stage, it becomes increasingly difficult for me to find top dogs for the last 3 years. First year we had Dog of the Year. The second year we had second top dog and fourth top dog. And this year, of course, Supreme Champion. Now, to follow those 3 years is very, very difficult. And people are looking for you to bring out a top dog. Well, I'm afraid they don't come along every week. It has happened when I've had a dog and the owner decides he or she wants to show it himself and try and do well. A classic, I think, is the Crufts Supreme Champion in '76, which was the Westie. After Crufts, he went to one show in Ireland, which is their Crufts, St Patrick's Day, and he was best in show there. And then we decided to retire him. But then the owner later in the year decided that she would take him out and see if she could do as well. And sadly, really, the dog wasn't placed at all because the dog didn't look his best. He was poorly presented, poorly handled, and nobody recognised him. Come on, you lot. Come on then. Come on then, this way. Dougal. Most people seem to think that show dogs lead a very pampered life, not allowed to get dirty, etc., etc. This, of course, is absolute rubbish. As you can see, my dogs go out in the field, they get dirty, and are quite happy. It's no good keeping a show dog caged up all day with no exercise. It's not necessary for show dogs, or any dog for that matter, to have free running exercise. Road work is just as good, in fact it's just as important as a good gallop. Most of the show dogs we can let loose, but these three particularly are quite new, and of course James is only a baby and he doesn't quite understand that when you call him he's to come back to you. If I let him off now he'd charge around the field and probably would spend half the day trying to catch him. He would enjoy himself, but I'm not sure that I would. Come on, Frizz. Come on then. We do all the work ourselves, we don't have any kennel mates. I believe that the dogs should know me and I should know them, and I want to know everything about them. If you have a kennel mate, you lose that personal touch with a dog. This is where the dogs live, this is where they sleep. It's plenty of light, it's covered of course, so that if it rains the dog's not shut away. Most of the dogs that I handle live with me, but of course there are some dogs which just don't, for various reasons. The owners prefer to keep them themselves. The larger breeds, of course, I don't keep because I'm not geared for big dogs. And most of the big breeds, anyway, don't need presenting, which is the real reason that most people employ a handler. These breeds, of course, each of them have to be trimmed and groomed and need a high degree of presentation. But there are breeds like the Beagles, which I show, and the Pharaoh Hounds, and they live with their owners. They just come to the shows and I meet up with them there, give them half an hour of schooling, and into the ring we go. The charges that most handlers make do vary quite a lot, but of course we don't charge the same as, say, a boarding kennel would do. The simple reason being that for most pet people, they go on holiday and put their dog in kennels for a fortnight. These dogs have been with me sometimes 12 months at a time. So you can't charge the same as a boarding kennel. Well, you just wouldn't have any work. A dog of this size would probably cost about £12 a week to board. That doesn't include any special diets, special attention grooming wise. All these things are extra. This is the isolation kennel. This is where, if a dog is off colour or a bitch is in season, this is where we put them away from the rest of the dogs, where they can rest, or in the case of a bitch in season, where the dogs can't get to them. And obviously if you keep bitches in season in close proximity with the dogs, they get quite upset, and often it can make them go off their food and lose condition, which is a bad thing for me. I've got to keep a condition on them all the time. This is also where I do the trimming. It's fairly quiet down here, and as you can hear, the radio is going all day long for them. They seem to like some sort of music. I don't know what it is, but it seems to quieten them down. And it also it's good for them when they come to shows, when they hear the loudspeakers going and all sorts of different noises. Of course, the radio, I mean, they hear all these noises.
He just showed me the LP cover. That's quite stimulating. Peter O'Toole can't make what?
Mind your old heart there, Jim.
Peter O'Toole can't make what?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's what you said.
Well,
Peter O'Toole can't make it, you said.
Yeah, well, among the things he can't make is Wogan on Saturday. And
This is James, son of Hackensack, this year's Crufts Supreme Champion. James, I think, is going to have quite a career in front of him. Manchester this week will be his last show in the puppy class. He's 11 months old now, and at 12 months of age, a dog ceases to become a puppy. He's then in the junior class, which is like the human juvenile. Lhasa Apsos are a very old breed. They're a Tibetan breed. They were owned by the monks in the monasteries in Tibet. They're a type of guard dog. Most people see Lhasas with the hair covering their eyes, and they can't quite understand why. As you can imagine, in Tibet, it's a very snowy area, and the fall of the hair is to protect their eyes from the glare of the snow. As we would use sunglasses, they have the hair to protect their eyes. The hair doesn't actually drop into their eyes because they have long eyelashes which hold the hair just away, and they can see straight through. James's coat is coming on quite well. It isn't quite as long as it could be yet, but of course he's still a baby, and for his age he's got an exceptional coat. As soon as it's down to the ground, he looked quite special. With the training of this particular dog, as against the other dogs that I get, is that this dog was particularly, he was bred here, so I've had him since he was a baby. He isn't owned by me, he's owned by 2 other people, but he's always lived here, and I've trained him from a baby. Most of the dogs that I get come to me when they're about 14, 15 months old, when, for various reasons, the owners find it difficult to get to the shows, or the dog's particularly difficult. When I look for a dog to show, or when somebody brings a dog to me which they want showing, the breed points come first. If a dog conforms to most of the breed points, then you go on to the dog's personality. Great dogs have always had great personalities. The two go together. So I'm looking for a dog with the right conformation, the right personality. That's going to go to a show and really enjoy it and look happy. A judge is looking for a happy sort of dog, as well as a well-constructed dog. I often see really nice dogs, poorly handled, and it really is a shame, because handling has to come into it. As I've said before, the conformation and the personality of the dog, but a dog's got to be properly handled at the same time. And I've seen lots and lots of good dogs, which I would have loved to have said to the owner, please let me take it. You know, I can certainly do more with it than you can. But that's not something that I've ever done. I've never touted for dogs. I don't believe in touting for dogs. It's quite a different thing when somebody comes to me and asks me. A person who gets very nervous in the ring can make a really bad job of a dog. A dog will then get nervous, as well as a person. It travels down the lead, nervousness, and it upsets the dog, and they don't just start shaking and do all sorts of crazy things. And some people just don't know how to handle the dog. I mean, they'll stand them in quite the wrong position, and they'll face the dog in the wrong way. But it's the overall impression the judge sees as he walks into the ring that counts, that first impression. So you want to walk in the ring and get your dog looking $1 million. So as soon as you see it, you know, that's going to draw his attention. When you get to a ring full of dogs and you might be stood next to a naughty dog, you've 2 options really. You can either move or you can stand your ground. But if you stand your ground, it depends on the degree of the dog next to you, how badly it's behaving. Because obviously it's going to have an effect on your dog and draw his attention away. A good handler wants to keep the attention of his dog with him. He doesn't want the attention wandering to another dog or what another owner is doing. It's a two-way thing. It's a partnership. So you've got to keep his attention somehow. And it's very, very difficult when you get a badly behaved dog next to you. I had one bad experience last year with Hackensack, who of course was Crufts Supreme Champion. We were at a large show down at Ascot Racecourse, and he was in the group, which is all the best of breed winners come into the group for the final judging. and he was pulled out against a bulldog. There were just the two of them in it, and it was going to be the case of winning and losing. And unfortunately, the bulldog was so badly behaved, it actually put Hackensack off, and Hackensack lost the group because of somebody else's bad behaviour. This young chap, for me, I think has got a great future. For a kick-off, he was bred from 2 super dogs, and of course breeding really does count. James has got a wonderful personality. He goes into the ring and he really does show. He really enjoys every minute of it. He holds his position all the time. You don't have to prop him. Some dogs you have to pull into shape. This dog, as you see, will just stand there. I think during 1984, this dog will really be a big winner. At this show, I think James will go into the ring and really be happy. He'll really enjoy it. He'll like being amongst the other dogs. He's a very friendly dog. There's never any quarrels with him. And I just hope the judge likes him. I don't know whether we'll do terribly well under this judge, because he was one of 2 judges who put his mother down second when she was doing all the winning. So it's a gamble whether we do very much under him. But I'm sure he'll enjoy it. Every show he's been to up to now, he's gone in there and he's never let me down. Good boy, James. James. Good boy. Good boy. Okay. And we now wait for the judge to examine the other 2 dogs before the final placings. As you'll see, some of the other dogs in this ring are not moving too well. It's probably their first show, and Manchester's just a little bit noisy, a little bit overpowering for the young puppies. Just a little bit of coaxing to get going.
The Kennel Club issue with a breed standard, which is our blueprint as to what the dog should look like. So you have this blueprint, and then you put your own interpretation as you see it. As I've always said, we all see blue as a different shade. It may be dark blue, it may be light blue, or in between. So you've got to look for something that looks like the breed overall from a slight distance. Then you are looking for the finer details, like correct eye colour, correct eye shape, correct skull, the jawline. You want a nice reach of neck, a lay-back of shoulder where the shoulder blades go at a 45-degree angle, a straight front. We want the tail set over the back so that when they move jauntily, not sluggishly around the ring. They should be able to move with drive and look happy and alive while they're moving.
The judge hasn't examined James. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. And we've been pulled out first. Super start to the year. Stand, James. So now we wait and compete with the best puppy bitch for the best puppy in the breed. Well, we've just come out of the ring with James, and we have with me the owners of the dog, Malcolm Poulton and Colin Blair. How did you think James went?
Oh, he looked fabulous. He really looked super. It's really a surprise to see him sort of standing there in first place. We'd come with sort of mixed feelings what the dog was going to do today, but it was really sort of a great kit. We sailed in from the other side of the ring because we got stuck in the Manchester traffic. We sailed from the other side of the ring and just saw you there, and we didn't know whether you got first or second, so it was really sort of a surprise when we got here to find out. It was super.
Colin, what did you think? How do you think James has come on since you last saw him at Crufts?
Well, every time I see him, he seems to have that little bit more coat, and as you say, it seems to be growing like weed at the moment. It's absolutely incredible. He has so much coat. It's unbelievable for a dog of his age.
This will now be the competition for the best Lhasa puppy. Just having a final look. In a moment he'll present the rosette. Let's just hope it comes our way.
I thought the bitch had a greater elegance. I preferred her slightly more on the move. You've got a different coat texture on the golds as apart from the grey and whites. The grey and whites are definitely a stronger, harder type coat. I don't mean harsh, because that would be on a terrier. A harder coat. We do not want a soft, silkier coat. And I thought that the bitch had slightly better coat texture. And in the end, I decided that was my choice. You know, it's my choice today. Tomorrow, those two dogs could come together again, and it could go the opposite way.
My own feelings are that the judge was wrong, but we've no comeback because the judge is always right. As you will see, James did everything right. He moved correctly, he stood perfectly, and the bitch did everything wrong. She didn't really move too well, and her tail was loose, and she wasn't in full coat. But that's the way things go. We have to accept it. And now we wait until later on in the day for the big variety puppy class, and we hope that we can do a little bit better in there. His full name is Saxon Springs Fun and Games at Malismar. Saxon Springs is the kennel name of the breeder, Mrs. Blythe, and Malismar is the kennel name of the new owners. And we selected James because, quite simply, Saxon Springs Fun and Games, and we changed to James. In fact, the judge has pulled out 9. I think I'm quite lucky, really, in the owners that I handle for. Most of them are well-known dog people. They've been in dogs years. They know the pitfalls, and they take it all very well. They do get upset in certain cases, but not really upset with you. They're probably upset that they haven't won, but they don't pin the blame on you. They don't pin the blame on the dog. It's one of those things. You can be up one week and you can be down the next. These are the things you have to accept. We came second in the puppy stakes out of 245 dogs. I'm absolutely delighted with James's performance. It's been a long day for him. You must remember that he's still a baby. Thanks, Billy. And he coped it really well. Oh, the boy. Ah. You can go home and get mucky now. Can't you? Yeah, you can go home and get mucky now. Yeah, you can. Yes, you can.
Not my ankles. He very rarely bites my ankles because he gets a mouthful of boot if he does that.
Listening to Wogan must have done wonders for Bonnie. She won Best Scottish Terrier Bitch. And Geoff followed that success on the final day when he showed Corky, a beagle that put him right back on top. He won Best of Show at Manchester, the show that follows Crufts.